So thank you so much for joining us for the third session in our retail track. It was interesting, during the pandemic, I remember talking to a large tech company and they were saying, we're seeing so much about the physical store. And what we started to see was everyone wanting to be together, to think differently about returns. And if an item is bought in the store, right, the returns are decreased by almost 1,000 basis points. And so the store as a place of community, experience, et cetera, really became, and it meant something different, membership, loyalty, et cetera. And so we're going to hear a lot about that from the panel today. My name is Deborah Weinswig, CEO and founder of CoreSite Research. And at CoreSite, we focus very much on the intersection of the consumer and technology on a global basis. And most of the team has a background in fundamental research from Wall Street or macro economists, et cetera, and we have an engineering team. So we have a significant amount of proprietary data and insights, and we do our best to try and predict the future, but also if we understand what the future is going to look like, what do you need to do today? Where should you spend, and how much should you spend? And so I want to call out our AI Council, which we started in May of 23, thanks to two of my mentors who called me in the same week. And actually, Stacey Shulman from Intel was one of our original supporters because I think at that time, she understood how important and how transformational this technology was going to be. And if you think back, right, 2+ years, how much what you do personally and professionally has changed, it has been a game changer for all of us and one of the reasons we're here today. And so we meet once a month, closed door, very strict on that. People share their experiences and what's worked and what hasn't. And so we'd love to have you join us. With that, please put your hands together for Stacey and her amazing panel.
All right. So we have a great panel today. I'm going to keep my comments very short. And then the panel will introduce themselves, and then we'll get into some questions. So just a quick brief. Generally, people want to know, like, what does Intel have to do with retail? We've been in the retail space for a long time. We are a compute company at the end of the day, but we also look at how do you build vast ecosystems to solve problems for industries. And so what we kind of look across the board on what is coming, and we have to predict 5 to 10 years out what's coming and what are the obstacles that'll get in the way of that thing. And so this is, when we talk about AI, the acceleration of AI is faster than anything I've ever seen in my career. And so when we look at that, that's a new obstacle that gets in the way. It's not just the obstacle of slowing technology down, but the obstacle of making people effective with that technology. And so we spend a lot of time on what kind of ecosystems do we need there, what type of solutions do we need there. And I think one of the things that I'm really passionate about is that we highlight the things that actually work, the use cases that matter. And so I'm happy to have a panel with me today that are going to represent that. Now with that, I'm going to turn it over to Glenn, and he's going to talk about some of those successes.
It's great to see everybody here at CES today. So Tractor Supply is the largest rural lifestyle retailer in the United States with over 2,400 Tractor Supply stores in local rural communities that we live and serve. And our customers typically have land, they have animals, and Tractor Supply helps our customers live a lifestyle. We call it Life Out Here. We have a very strong culture focused on mission and values. We do not have a corporate headquarters. We have a store support center. So a lot of the investments that we make in AI are heavily focused on helping our store team members provide legendary experience for our customers, legendary service. And from an AI framework standpoint, we look at things focused in several different pillars. Investments in AI to drive more team member productivity. So an example of that would be through voice, through chat, real-time access to product information, product recommendations, inventory information, sales, real time to all of our store team members. Every team member over 52,000 team members are enabled through AI, in part through our partnership with OpenAI and Microsoft. And every department of Tractor Supply is fully enabled with AI. We have AI champions embedded within each department to help champion AI, to roll out new AI capabilities. Through our partnership with OpenAI, we've enabled personalized automations and insights using structured and unstructured data. We've made investments in AI in our core platforms like Relax, where we can leverage AI ML in terms of inventory, ensuring we've got a localized inventory in our stores to help, support our customers in the local communities. And then, as we've all heard, just the increase in agentic commerce, so tractorsupply.com, we worked with OpenAI to launch Scout AI, so customers can get product recommendations, add to cart, so it's a useful selling assistant on the site. So for the holiday season, our site was fully enabled with Scout AI. And then also our site, we've got our product feeds, images, from a ChatGPT standpoint and, other AI platforms, making sure Tractor Supply products are visible and shoppable. And then, I think as we all saw, as consumers are beginning to use more and more tools like ChatGPT, Atlas, Perplexity, Google, people are beginning to use agents to do tasks for them. So help me with my holiday shopping. Help me, find a particular holiday gift, and having the agent actually go out and shop various sites. So we saw that increase in agentic activity, and ensuring our site was completely shoppable by those agents. All foundational with, from an information security standpoint, responsible AI, having an AI council review any of our kind of AI capabilities that we're introducing. So it's exciting to be here. We're going to play a clip. It's about a 60-second clip that kind of brings some of this all together, showing how a customer might be shopping through the mobile app or the web, or, doing a curbside pickup where a team member is getting an AI alert and kind of bringing that order curbside. Some examples around tractor vision, where we're using computer vision in the stores to automatically identify a long line, or where a customer might need assistance in the garden center and enabling an AI alert for a store team member to assist the customer. And several other examples. The music was written by the Tractor Supply tech team. So we have a very strong culture. We're 2026 Computer World Best Places to Work in Tech. So I hope you enjoy the soundtrack on this. It is written by IT.
That's awesome. So cool.
Driven by tech that's tough and built to last. Tractor Tech keeps systems working so you can work the land. If you've got a job to do, we've got a plan. We make the complicated easy to understand. Together we go the country mile, where digital and innovative, we do it with style. The best place to work and build your career. We got the tech it takes to live life out here. Tech out here.
All right, thank you.
Okay, that's kind of hard to follow. I do have a video. IT did not write the music from Target at this one, sorry, but I'm going to work on it on the way home. Hi, I'm Siobhán McFeeney. I'm with Target. I have a bunch of teams, our engineer and data science for our stores, merchandising and supply chain systems. When you were speaking, I was like, and whatever he said, we sort of do a lot of the same, but obviously for Target. But You know, when you think about Target, three things that we talk about a lot, and we're going to be focused on the next few years, are really about style and design. So it's really part of that original Target brand and getting back to that real style and design. And the experience, both in store and online, hugely important. I don't want to bring up omni-channel as it feels a bit dated these days, but if you just think about how you shop anyway, you walk in a store, we all have a phone in our pocket. So we are doing it, and how do we make that a much more seamless and just engaging experience from our customers? And our third thing is all fueled by technology. I was going to give myself a challenge and not use the word AI here and talk about science and decision science, but we'll talk about AI. A lot of what we're doing at Target, from taking friction out of the team members in our buildings and in our stores so they can actually help our guests in a really meaningful, authentic way, is driven by a lot of partnerships with companies and also our own building of agentic platforms. And that's our big goal, right? Take friction out of the team members' day, be it a better pick pack, be it unload the truck more efficiently, less touches, inventory to the floor, all those things that help them then actually focus on dealing with the guest when they walk out on that floor and you see the person with some version of a red shirt on and they can come help you. We're doing that. I'll talk a little bit more later about what we're doing as sort of that next generation. Team members, they know their store, they know the floor, they know their customers far better than anyone in a corporate setting who usually tends to, fill out the process sheets and sort of send store ops all the list of things to be done. We want to give some dynamic ability for team members to be able to make pivots in real time because they know their guests far better than I would. And so that's one piece of it. And then just how we are enabling AI in a very thoughtful way. So I am a little fearful that we'll end up with many, many Rube Goldberg machines, so I don't want one of those or any of those. So how do we think about building true agentic platforms so that we are really thoughtful end to end? A store, for example, like in many ways, they're kind of at the end of a bunch of decisions that were made by merchants and then a bunch of supply chain folks and ships on water and all these things, and then they end up sitting with a device in their hand going, I'm making the best decision based on upstream. Let's hope all those folks made really good decisions. So we're working, how do we think about that much more horizontally? We're using a lot of AI to connect all of that together. And then this may sound a little funky, but it's really important when we think about big companies like Target. I mean, we have over 400,000 employees. It's been around for over 60 years. So there's been a lot of process decisions made. There's a lot of manuals. We've got a ton of data. A lot of ways in which we have people do work. So as we build new AI solutions, new agents, and we bring them into the ecosystem, we have to reframe how we think about business process. It can't just be a way to do an activity. We believe if we think about that differently and we talk about it as what decisions are being made, if you reframe it, right? The thesis is if you could reframe the business process as a series of decisions to be made, fueled by data that lead to an action, then we can really clearly define which of those decisions can be agentic and easy and autonomous, which need support with a human, and which can be actually and have to be done by an associate, a team member. And that piece, I think, will give us scale and resilience of scaling these platforms over time, because we're actually bringing technology and our business partners together. And that's truly where some of the friction happens when you just, I've got an AI solution and go search for a problem. So we're really trying to think about this in a very thoughtful way, but do it at pace. So that's me. I'll hand it over.
I think you have to do a video too.
I have to do a video too. Thank you. I did not make this music. Your song was so much better.
Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie, and I work for a company called Perfect Corp. We're on the different side. We're a vendor, and what we create is artificial intelligence and augmented reality technology that solves common consumer problems. So you've likely, if you've ever virtually tried on makeup, you've used our product. We also do a skin diagnostic, and we have a bunch of really great API tools that we're releasing at CES that focus on changing your outfit with AI and trying on jewelry or shoes. And so we like to work directly with our brand and retail partners to really make these solutions come to life and find the feedback that helps the consumers have a more personalized and frictionless experience. I'm not going to talk quite as much, but I will show a video. The music is also not created by our in-house team, but we are a Taiwan-based company, and every year, fun fact, we have a great holiday party where we have a great talent that performs, and they actually could probably make the music, although they did not. Pass it on to you.
Hi everyone, I'm Ashye Marcus. I'm the head of retail at Stripe. For those of you that aren't familiar with Stripe, we're the financial infrastructure and really helping power the future of retail. I get to have the privilege to work with really, I would say, some of the world's most innovative retailers and also modernizing retailers to ready them for the future of commerce. And agentic commerce is really the tip of the spear. And so as I think about agentic commerce, there's a world of agent to agent that's going to be the future. And I think in 2 years, we're going to be deep in that. But right now, what we're seeing a lot of is truly AI-assisted commerce. If I just take one step back, it's really fascinating to think that in September, which is only a couple of months ago, we announced with ChatGPT instant shopping. And we co-authored with OpenAI an agentic commerce protocol. With that was the ability to have in-chat shopping. And so we launched it with Etsy. Shopify brand shortly followed. Walmart was followed thereafter. And then today, so excited, we announced a partnership with Microsoft where we're also powering commerce within the Copilot. What we're seeing right now is truly the fastest consumer adoption I've ever seen. I've been in the retail space for 20 years. I'm truly energized by how fast the market is moving. And the tech is moving fast, but also really consumer behavior is changing. And what we're seeing is the world's most innovative retailers, they're leaning in, they're wanting to partner, they're wanting to work with us. And some of the benefits we're seeing of early adopters is they're already getting early insights and a compressed learning in this wildly evolving innovation cycle. And so some of the brands that we're working with right now, the likes of an Etsy, Tapestry, the Coach and Kate Spades of the world, Revolve. And so we're really excited to be powering the future of commerce and be working across all of these new AI agents and orchestrators.
just kind of quickly hitting on, since we launched in September, I'm often, asked, and I would say if I bubble up conversations with about 100 retailers, 4 key themes come out generally in every conversation. And the first is, in this world of AI-assisted commerce, is how do I show up? And so the first thing I say is, you can't monetize if you're not showing up. And so first, show up to the party. So a strong piece of advice I have to anyone on the retail side is make sure you have your AEO, GEO strategy down. That is just fundamentally important. Again, can't monetize if you're not showing up. And then from the retailer's side, I would say the number one thing we hear is, how do I maintain the customer relationship? How do I stay merchant of record? What does loyalty look like in this new world? How do I do upsells and cross-sells? And so the view we take at Stripe is we want to be the most merchant-friendly solution. And so the way in which we work with both the AI agents and our merchant partners is the merchant is the merchant of record. They own the customer relationship, and that's really, really important, I think, as we continue, as the space evolves. The other 2 things that come up often is, how do I handle and think about fraud? I've spent the past, 5-10 years thinking, how do I block bad bots? And so now thinking, what does fraud and really managing it look like? That's something that we're partnering and really at the forefront of. And then how do I process the payments? So payments is, often people used to tell me, payments isn't sexy. And actually, payments are incredibly important and very strategic in an agentic world, because how one monetizes in these chats is going to be, it's just a very, interesting and challenging technical piece, but we've been able to really demystify it. And so if I think of what does Stripe do best, we take a lot of the complexity, we take out really the heavy lift. And so from what we launched in September, that was a 6-month build to get to it. And of every conversation I have with retailers, I have yet to hear, hey, I have extra dev resources and I have extra time. It's typically, I hear, I don't want to be late to the party. What do I need to know? And how can I get started? And so what we recently released is a turnkey solution where this video is running through it very quickly. And so I won't bore you all with it, but it's really, I would say, the simplicity and elegance of a Stripe dashboard. And if you're not familiar with it, it's a simple process of you'll upload a product catalog with us. You will, with the click in the dashboard, just toggle on, I want to sell an ABC agent, and then you're able to monetize within all these new AI surfaces. That's it. Sorry, my video did it. It was running as we went, but it's still not as good as a Tractor Supply, and there was definitely no music.
Today we're going to talk about connectivity. So all the videos that we saw today required something. That tool, whether it's Target or whatever retailer it is, Tractor Supply, every tool needs to be connected. And that has to be the foundation that you think about as you build applications. So resilience. If you think about resilience, you're either going to thrive when there's implications that are happening around you, such as disasters, or you won't. So I'm going to share a quick video. It happens to have my friend Glenn in it, about connectivity at Tractor Supply.
Tractor Supply has proudly served rural communities for over 85 years, becoming the largest rural lifestyle provider in the United States. In rural America, connectivity is a significant challenge. Our partnership with T-Mobile allows us to deliver a seamless digital customer experience both online and in-store. We need a partner capable of scaling and providing a unified internet solution across the continental U.S.
We're deploying T-Mobile 5G business internet in rural areas with little or no internet coverage. This connectivity is enabling Tractor Supply to innovate how they deliver legendary customer experiences and build brand loyalty.
With over 2,200 Tractor Supply stores and 200 PetSense stores nationwide, our 50,000 team members are dedicated to providing the best support for our customers.
Big as Tractor Supply, with as many simultaneous transactions happening all over the store, they need a primary internet that's fast enough and has the capacity to keep up with that demand.
Tractor Supply has a robust technology ecosystem interconnecting our 50,000 team members. We've implemented a generative AI solution called Hey Gura and leveraged IoT technology like Tractor Vision to gain critical insights about our customers and products.
So as you can see, there's a lot happening in that retail space. And as we think about AI and the implications of AI, it's critical to build that with your partners inside of the retail organization. So where are retailers struggling today? There's so much happening today. It is unbelievable as technology is moving at rapid speed. So there are more AI councils inside of a retailer to make sure everybody's on the same page with security and risks. However, everybody is implementing technology in retail today. However, not everybody's talking inside that ecosystem of a retailer. So one of the things I would like to leave everybody with is if you don't talk to the tech team and you're developing something, then the chances of it actually working in the store could be a misstep. So it is so important that everybody partners with the right teams inside of your four walls. Now, if we think about it, what's the advantage of that? Connectivity and security to retail readiness, right? So if you're spending millions of development dollars on your application, especially with AI, you need to ensure that you have the bandwidth and the speed to make it happen. So if we think about retail today, most retailers are prioritizing digital transformation, but they're not all at the same levels. Some retailers are way ahead and some are not. So I would suggest that everybody is looking now 5-10 years down the road as you're developing these applications, what your technology stack needs to look like and what that infrastructure is built around. So one thing at T-Mobile, we understand that technology and the infrastructure is so important as your foundation. So that's king. What is queen is POS, right? You to transact and be successful in retail, your register has to ring. So all the AI that's out there, if you can't execute that sale from a payment perspective, that's a problem. So at T-Mobile, we are launching our network slice for POS transactions. So that allows all the traffic just for that one application to be on a secure network, and you will not have a problem transacting. So we deploy that the first time at some of these larger events. So imagine 300,000, 40,000 people trying to transact, buying sportswear or maybe a beer, right, at one of these events, and not having to wait and getting back to the fan what's happening out there. So I think it's really critical as we develop with AI and look forward that we think about these considerations in the infrastructure. Back to Stacey.
All right, thank you. I'm going to ask a couple questions. I'm going to start with these two. So first, Glenn, your Tractor Supply does so much in your communities. And you guys have done such a great job of showing up during crisis, during the community, in the community during crisis. How are you leveraging your technology, your organization to scale that? What are you going to do with AI? Maybe tell us a little bit more of your vision on that.
Yeah, I mean, we operate in 2,400 just local communities in rural America. I mean, these are our neighbors. This is our home where we live and serve. I think there's examples when our communities need us the most. I think back to Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton. We saw a lot of flooding. You know, we worked with our partners. T-Mobile, as an example, was a great partner for us. You know, a lot of people were struggling with just even basic communications, connectivity, you know, access to power, being able to charge. So Tractor Supply kind of worked with the emergency response team. We activated SAC Colt trucks. We brought in communications to communities like Asheville. And Tractor Supply parking lots became, you know, essential in terms of providing community connectivity, Wi-Fi, charging, you know, being able to establish communications with loved ones, get families reunited. And we also brought in trucks, truckloads of generators, gas cans, other emergency supplies. So, and we were, you know, able to kind of serve the communities and our, you know, our store team members, and so I look at that as just, you know, not only we have the architecture, the partnerships, and just how our teams all work together, especially when our communities need us most.
I think that's why you guys are so highly rated with your employees, right? I mean, they're doing things that matter, not just in their jobs, in their communities, where they live, work, and where their families are. Thank you, thank you. Target, I've gotten a front row seat on watching you guys transform over the last 8 to 10 years in terms of your technology and your infrastructure, everything. Like, you guys have changed everything. And also got a front row seat as you guys started rolling out AI for the associate to take them from, you know, a new associate into a seasoned associate overnight. Can you tell us more about how that program has gone and maybe what's next?
Yeah, no, appreciate the great question, by the way. I shared that with my team, and they were like, that's a great question. I think there's a few phases. So the first phase of a lot of this was to, maybe I should step back. Probably the hardest job in retail is your team member on the floor dealing with customers. That is a hard job, not paid a ton of money, but they are super passionate, care about the customers. And so the job and the kind of easier job we have in technology is make it easier for them. So build software that's easy to use and easy to change. That's like the technology strategy. If we could do that, which we don't always do, right? Sometimes we make software that's kind of hard to use and like really complicated to change. And how software is changing with any of the agentic frameworks or any of Gen AI, we have to move with that. Software development has changed forever. It will not be the way it was 2 years ago. So we sort of owe it to our team members to make sure that we're keeping up with that. So phase one, a lot of workforce productivity, I would say. So we took a lot of the manual tasks. You know, trucks years ago would arrive and it wasn't maybe the most efficient path to unload, and we've built a lot of science into unload that truck as efficiently as possible, touch inventory as few times as possible, get it on the floor. That is, you take that, and we're about 2,000 stores, 400,000 employees. If you want to do the payroll math on that, every time you take an hour a week of work out, think about the payroll that you're saving and what can you actually do to invest in that elsewhere. So all those productivity gains, hugely important. So a better pick path. We do a ton of fulfill from stores. So each of our stores are like mini little supply centers for the local community, and we do a lot of the ship from store when you order or pick up. So our associates are running around the store doing that. How can we, and we've built intelligence into their devices to enable them to know which paths to pick from, which are the most efficient, go down the aisle once, not twice, all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of phase one, productivity, efficiency. It's certainly, you feel it when you're there as a guest. I always think that a lot of the AI benefits we're going to see in phase two, which I'll talk about, will be more invisible to you as a guest, but you will feel it in the experience, right? So they will be more, so what we're really working hard on, kind of alluded to earlier, is a store associate can only do what they can do with what we've given them. So the inventory information they have on their device, the supply chain efficiency, all of that. So we are working, I mean, if I say horizontal or left to right one more time, my team are going to kill me, but we've got to look upstream. And to me, upstream is when we decide on an assortment, we decide on the demand-based allocation, and then we start shipping it through the supply chain to either our website, our app, or stores. So we've got to make all of that as intelligent and efficient and really kind of hyper-localized as we can to enable our associates to get to this next phase, which is they are now in real time being much more dynamic about, they know what the next best task to work on is. And how do we build that intelligence into the device? And how do we balance the tension between, we need consistency in 2,000 stores. We can't have everyone 1,000 flowers blooming, but we must give some autonomy to the folks who serve the guests in real time. And so by upstream having better information flowing into the device that they mostly use to do their job, as we make that more consistent, we make it more, it's not that we need agents for everything, but there is a huge area where we can bring AI into the solutions. That's all manual today. Fix that, gives better information to an associate. Now they can be more dynamic in their decision making. And it's not just about saving money. They can change the top line growth for Target. I mean, they are the workforce on the front lines doing that. And so that's kind of the next phase of what we're doing. We're a big fan of experimenting. We had a chance to talk earlier. I spend every Wednesday in stores around the country, and every Wednesday, every week, we do this religiously because that's who we serve, and they serve our guests. So you'll see us see more of that, hopefully. I'm always open for the feedback. Please do let us know. But it's really important that if you are serving, you work in a retail or you're a vendor with a retail, spend time in stores, spend time in buildings, go to distribution centers. It's where you learn. It's the only place you learn.
Thank you. Okay, we have 4 minutes. I'm going to do rapid fire for you guys, and I'm going to maybe get a little controversial on some of these. So first, I'm going to start, Roopi, with you, and then I'm going to come back this way. Tell us about some of the top, like these guys have infrastructure figured out, right? Your groups have infrastructure figured out, which is why you're moving so fast, with AI and able to move so fast with AI. What are some of the most common mistakes that you see companies make on their infrastructure?
So not thinking ahead, like it's working, so it's going to be okay. They're not thinking about capacity and speed. Those two things play because customers don't have the time, and that person ringing that register doesn't want it not to work. Because on our side, as the customer, we get upset, right? So that is critical. I would say the second thing is store Wi-Fi. Don't always think it's going to work, right? So as we know, as a customer downloading digital coupons or trying to get something to work, there are dead zones in the store. Right? So as we develop these, we need to understand where are my dead zones. So for the employee to work more efficiently and they're doing picking up of those items, if they get to a dead zone, that's a problem. So I think even Wi-Fi is changing. I had a call, I was at the airport, it was 11 o'clock at night from a retailer executive telling me that they have a lot of influencers in the store. Their solution they just put in is not going to work. And she's in a panic. Right, 11 o'clock on a Sunday night call. I said, okay, let me get my peer on and let's talk about it. So just thinking ahead is critical. If you have influencers, that Wi-Fi better work, right? Because they're influencing the purchasing during the busiest time of the holiday season. So those are some things I'm seeing.
Great, thank you. Stephanie, I'm going to go to you. Virtual try-on, I've always been a big fan of it. The tech wasn't there back when it first started, and I think it fell flat in some of these areas. So maybe tell us why we shouldn't think of it that way anymore. What's changed? How's the tech evolved? Why should we rethink this?
Yeah, I think it's a very fair question. And I think first and foremost, the technology is really what matters the most. And Perfect is at our core a tech company. Our parent company is a pretty big tech company. And so because of that, we really have this best-in-class technology. But the thing about the technology that actually matters to our partners is kind of the return on investment they see with it. And so we have really, really great case studies with partners like MAC Cosmetics reporting a 200% increase in conversion. We have increased basket size. We have decreased returns when you use tools like Foundation Shade Finder. And these are really the reasons our partners see that investing in this technology, even if it has a higher price point, it's a really valuable technology for them to have. I would say that it used to be a nice to have, and now most of the big retail partners are using these technologies. We work with Walmart and Sephora on skin diagnostic, and so we're starting to see this really be in every e-commerce e-commerce and in-store scenario. What I think is really cool is that we're trying to democratize it a little bit more. So previously, there was a really high barrier to entry with cost and setup, and it was really intended for enterprise businesses, and now we're focusing on making it accessible for everyone. And so one of our initiatives this year is to make tools that can be easily implemented, and we're doing a pay-as-you-go model versus a software-as-a-service model. So that's one of our big changes we're making.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so very last question. The agentic AI space, if you are not thinking about how people are shopping on agents, you're already behind. What are some of the things that you would, tell this group, that they need to really get into right now?
We believe that the future is going to be agentic, and similar to the shifts of digital and mobile, the brands and the retailers that were in early and they iterated fast, those are the businesses that have the 30, the 50% digital penetrations. And so I like to think about it as it is a period where the early bird gets the worm, because you're going to have the learnings that are going to compound, and the compounding is happening so fast. I mean, who would have thought that ChatGPT would hit 800 million weekly users in this world? And so I just
and how
encourage
people
everyone.
do searches now, people start searches in AI instead of Google. Yeah.
And start now, so you're ahead and you're thinking of things. So holiday, I look at holiday 26 and, how do we think of, growing up in the stores, what does agentic BOPUS look like? Where I'm querying in any of these LLMs, I want this size blank for my daughter, this brand that I can pick up in store right now. So these are the future use cases that are really, I think, exciting and energizing that haven't been solved yet. And so it's deep optimism, and just jump in and start learning.
Awesome, thank you. And just, a plug for Stripe. They've been on the forefront of this, with making sure that you're working with OpenAI. You guys are writing doing a lot of work in the agentic space. So if you haven't looked at that, I would encourage you to do that. Thank you all to the panelists. You all have been fantastic. I know that we had to get through it really quick, but, they're all here, so you can ask them questions as they step down. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.